You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you taking our lap of extra mile for today, August 11th, 2025. And it is death, taxes, and all-timers, the theme of this weekend. From Shane Van Gisbergen picking up a big win in Watkins Glen. A all-time performance by Will Power in Portland. A new champion claimed in IndyCar. An utter domination in V8 Supercars. Freddie B of the Raceless Podcast is here with me this evening. We're going to talk IndyCar on the other side of this break after we pay some bills. Sit tight. We'll get started right after this.
For the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at iSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iSportsRadio.com. At iSportsRadio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl here with you this evening. Freddie B of the Racelets Podcast joining me as well to talk IndyCar and the BitNile Grand Prix. And I think this message from Taryn kind of sums up the season as far as IndyCar, which is Alex Palou is him.
Oh my gosh, Darryl, it was just a matter of time until we can crown Alex Palou a three-peat champion and now a four-time IndyCar champion. What can you say? I mean, we've talked about him so many weeks in a row, and man, what an awesome performance! What an awesome champion! I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like this before.
No, utter domination this season. We'll talk about that a little bit later into the segment. For now, we're going to get started with our review of what ended up being an entertaining race at Portland. We actually made it through the first chicane without any disasters as far as IndyCar is concerned. There was a huge wreck on US 2000 during the weekend, but the real light up of the weekend, Connor Daly, Felix Rasmussen having a grand old fight for the midfield positions, ends up with Connor Daly taking a pretty massive hit into the tire barrier around lap 13. No penalties given for that incident, and it was strange. I will say that.
Another head scratcher by IndyCar race control. We don't understand what they are doing half the time. Either it's not throwing out cautions when there's cars dangerously on track, or when you have two cars intentionally going after one another on track. I mean, it makes for an awesome battle. Really excitement, it's like NASCAR, with the bumping and stuff like that, but you can't be doing that in IndyCars without any kind of repercussion. But neither guy gets a penalty. One of them gets launched into a tire barrier, and thankfully it was a tire barrier and not a retaining wall, because that could have been a serious injury for Connor Daly. This isn't the first time we've seen Christian Rasmussen race this way. He's done it all season long. And he even said it's all elbows out when he's on track.
Yeah, Rasmussen not making a lot of friends out there, but as you said, we are so excited for this supposed third party that's supposed to be coming to handle the officiating going forward, because this year it's just not been up to par. And unfortunately, that has been the issue since the Penske ownership has been head scratchers when it comes to race control, but these guys were knocking each other around for about 2 laps before
Oh
this
yeah.
finally ended. At some point, somebody in that tower's got to go, hey, somebody's got to eat a penalty. I don't care if it's for the initial contact or the contact after. Somebody's got to take a drive down pit road. It's just a calm down, clear your head moment. And it never came.
I thought the same thing. I thought Christian Rasmussen was going to be the one who was going to get the first penalty, maybe even 2. Connor deserved one as well. It's almost like an NFL, penalty when a penalty on both teams and the penalty's offset. They just pick up the flag and move on. That's kind of how it was. And, Connor, his day was over. Christian still continued to race and finished in the top 12 position. Unfortunately, Connor's day, ended prematurely. But, yeah, crazy. Maybe with the, Fox taking a third ownership now in Penske Entertainment and IndyCar, we're going to see a little change in the way things are officiated.
I hope not. There's already rumors of a potential playoff system for IndyCar. That's come up a lot, or not really a lot, but that's come up every now and then. Now the Fox purchase in a stake, it's coming around again. I don't want to see that. Just keep
Absolutely
it
not.
in NASCAR.
A few of the drivers were even asked over the weekend, and they quickly shut down the interviewer's question, saying, nope, absolutely not, 1,000% no. So
yeah.
Alex Palou definitely doesn't want to see a playoff.
No, because he absolutely earned that championship this year, wrapping it up with 2 races to go. Pato O'Ward, however, for his part, did lead 15 laps, but electrical issues put him out, or put him down the order. Only finishes 25th in a day that was not to the Arrow McLaren drivers' liking on Sunday.
No, he still had a shot coming into this weekend. He needed a few things to go his way, and with him starting, front of the field, it looked like it was going to be a good day to start, and it started off that way. Made it through the first set of pit stops. Unfortunately, electronical failure put him down. His car actually, stalls coming down pit lane. His crew had to push him back to the pits. They spent a while trying to get that DI fixed on it. And, man, what a shame. I would have loved to have seen what could have happened had he had maybe won this race and where we could have been with 2 ovals remaining. But, hats off to Pato. Incredible season, 6 podiums. He's got the 2 wins. Still a huge fan favorite. Going to finish second in the points. And an awesome year for him. But, you're touching on Arrow McLaren. What could we say? Christian Lundgaard. Back-to-back second place finishes. Awesome race by him. And, Arrow's got their top 2 drivers both with 6 podiums this year, which is incredible. And to touch back one more thing on Pato, I think, losing the championship was obviously devastating to him, but he had raced in every lap of the season thus far. And for him to not complete every lap at Portland just put another stamp on his season. And he was more devastated, I think, by not being able to complete the race.
Yeah, but he will have an opportunity for years to come to grab a championship. And I think Pato will have a championship before his career is over, and potentially an IndyCar race in his home country in Mexico City before too long. Some rumors swirling of us going there in 2026. We'll see once the schedule comes out, which I feel like it's taking a long time to get out for IndyCar because we're almost done for 2025 and still no announcement of where we're going next season. But
yeah,
exciting at the front. Will Power leads 78 laps, takes the win in hopefully a race that saves his job or at least keeps him in IndyCar for a season for Penske that is pretty much their statistically worst season since 1999. And Will Power picks up a huge win and a statement win because the driver that he lapped near the end of the race on Sunday is the guy that might be replacing him in David Malukas next year.
Absolutely. Awesome race by Will Power. He's, you know, been the best Team Penske driver all season long. And for them to pick up their first win of the season and for him to be the one to do it 1 year, almost to the day of when he won Portland last year. And awesome job by Will Power. He still has that fight in him. He is going to be racing. You can guarantee me on that. And where he sits, I don't know. Is it going to be Team Penske? Could it be somewhere else? Um, we're not going to know now until after the Nashville race at the end of the season where Will Power ends up. But you got to think that teams are going to want him. He still is winning races. He's still the top qualifier of all time. He's not done yet, and I think maybe a team like Ray Hall, Lanigan, Letterman um, is going to be maybe the spot that he ends up at. You heard it here first. I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see him over there and hopefully bring that team up. We know they need some help with the pace with their cars, so hopefully RLL will get some race. Or I would like to see him stay. You know, he's won Indy 500s for the captain. You'd like this for him to finish out his career there, but and to be honest, Penske needs some good press after this year. So I think keeping a Will around for another year would help that because they just need some stability.
Absolutely. There was even mention that Scott McLaughlin might end up going to NASCAR at one point. So
yeah, they brought that up during the broadcast. That is starting to pick up as well.
You know, he is friends with some of the buddies over there. Shane in particular, I think him and Scotty are both really good friends. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be, you know, in the next year or two, but down the road, I think that Scotty Mack can have a seat in a NASCAR.
Would be interesting to see where he goes, though, because all three of those seats over there at Penske's Cup operation are full.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody's dad did just get fired, so there's an odd man out there.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We got 2 oval races to go. The championship's already been decided. I can't wait to see what kind of battles we have going forward. There's still some drivers that are racing for a seat next season on any team. You know, you got Connor Daly. If he can win an oval race or get a podium here at the end, he can get that sponsorship in which he's been looking for, so he can retain his seat with Juncos.
Mm-hmm.
A lot on the line still, even though the championship's been decided already.
Well, not to mention Jacob Abel and Renus VK for Dale Coyne Racing. We know Dale doesn't keep a driver roster very long, unfortunately, with the money and the turnover in the business, although he does have charters now, so maybe these two will stick around. But if not, hey, Renus VK, Jacob Abel, they got 2 races to make an impression on somebody to get a ride next year. You mentioned Juncos, Stingray Rob also over there at Juncos. He's been better previous guest on the show, but things change. We don't know what's going to happen with Juncos. We know they've been having some issues financially. They did have that big issue at the beginning with Connor Daly with the sponsor he was supposed to have that fell through, and that pretty much shut down any sort of, I think, crypto sponsorships going forward in motorsports if it's going to be that fickle. But there's a lot of drivers in that mid-pack that need to make some impressions because IndyCar has a long off season, tends to be active with driver transfers. It's going to be exciting, especially when we got 2 ovals in the Milwaukee Mile and Nashville.
Yeah, you're talking about drivers with seats. It was announced last week during the off week that Marcus Ericsson is going to be back for another year at Andretti. So Andretti's team of 3 drivers is going to be complete with Colton Hurd and Kyle Kirkwood. So if you thought Dennis Hauger was going to be able to step into that Andretti seat, I think he has one more year in next racing. He's going to win a championship here in a couple of weeks, and we'll see him in a seat here soon. And maybe we'll get Miles Rowe in that Dale Coyne, or Able. He races for Able Motorsports right now. We'll see if he can get a seat here shortly.
Don't I was gonna say don't warn me with a bad time. Lord have mercy. We're just gonna leave that phrase alone and just continue. I would love to see Miles in IndyCar on the big stage. I think that'd be exciting for a number of factors, basically. So,
Oh yeah,
um,
Darryl, I got something for you. So
mhm.
Alex Palou clinches the championship with 2 races remaining, and
Yes,
they don't have the Astor Cup, which is the trophy for the champion, in attendance. Like, do you think they should have the cup there, like they do the Stanley Cup, with a potential for a clinch? I think that would be an awesome thing that they start doing. They don't usually, you know, present the trophy until the final race of the season, but I mean, Alex there with the championship and a couple of cardboard cutouts were the only thing that he had to celebrate with. But get him that trophy. Get him the white glove
I
treatment.
think when you know that the championship is gonna be clinched, you got to bring the trophy out.
Yeah,
I
get the
mean,
white gloves, the white glove service, just like the Stanley Cup.
yeah, I remember, and maybe this is kind of because they were in Charlotte at that point when Kevin Harvick won the nationwide title by 700 points. They had the trophy there at the end of the race for him to celebrate with, but they were also in NASCAR's home base, so it was probably a lot easier. And that Astor Cup is pretty big, but
Yeah,
you can put it on a truck and take it out there and have
sure.
the celebration
I
when the guy
understand too.
clinches.
You know, not to rain on Will Power's parade as well.
Yeah.
He deserved a lot of credit for what he did this weekend. But man, 4 championships now for Alex in 5 years. There's only 3 other drivers that have done that. You've got Andretti, you've got Dario Franchitti, and Sebastian Bourdais, the only other 4-time IndyCar winners. And yeah, incredible. And for him to three-peat like this, and like we said before, there's really, maybe outside of Pato O'Ward, there's a couple other guys that might have a chance to push, but Alex is in a position where he could win one for the thumb next year and continue for the next few years to come.
Yeah, I think he's got a great opportunity to pick up 7 championships by the time his career is over. Maybe another Indy 500. We know how hard that race is to win, but you just run out of adjectives to describe how good his season has been this year. He has been the dominant factor from the word go when he
Mhm.
won in St. Pete and didn't stop winning after that. We got interrupted by Kyle Kirkwood, but then we had a long stretch of, is anybody else going to win a race but Alex Palou or Kyle Kirkwood?
Yeah.
And we did get some more winners, but if he wasn't winning, he was second, third. There was that one DNF at Detroit that was not his fault, but
Right, right.
Palou
Yeah.
earned it.
He still has 2 races left. Both of them are ovals, where he can still, if he was able to win them both, tie AJ Foyt for 10 wins in a season, which is still, I mean, just another milestone to add to an already incredible season. A year when you win your first oval, you win the Indy 500, you dominate the championship. I mean, why not win the final 2 races of the year and just end it on the highest note of all highs?
Absolutely. And it would be a statement going into next year because ovals are relatively his weakest discipline.
Yeah, he's got no
So if he
weakness.
pulls off the 2 wins there, that'd be great. But I mean, he did win his first ever oval at, I don't know, the Indy 500 this year. So I think we can
Yeah.
write that off now.
I mean, there's no weakness in Alex. He wins ovals, he wins street courses, he wins road courses, and he's been qualifying and winning poles this year as well. The complete package. I can go on and on talking about how good of a guy he is and what an incredible driver he is. And I think now with 2 races to go, the championship locked up. You have the rest of the IndyCar field of 26 drivers that are like, you know what? Let's move on. It's over. Let's just go out there and have some good racing. I think we're going to have some really good races to end the year.
Yep, and now they've got the first 2 races to try to figure out how they're going to beat this guy next year.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a long off season of trying to figure that out as well, because when we get back to St. Pete next year, Alex Palou is going to continue to be the dominant power, and I'm so glad he's not saddled in some middle-of-the-pack Formula One car. And
Right.
we actually get to see him race for wins and championships like this, because it has been a treat, and you've got to cherish these type of drivers when they come around, because they're once in a generation for a reason, and he is definitely an all-time great in IndyCar now.
Yeah, when I spoke to him after winning at Thermal, I said, Alex, we're in the presence of greatness right now. And this was only that was the second race of the season. We had only scratched the surface of what he was going to be able to accomplish all year. And what we were witnessing was something that we've never seen before. And wow, I mean, hats off to Alex and Chip Ganassi, another championship. He's now tied with Team Penske for 19 championships. So who's going to get the 20th first? We'll maybe find out next year.
All right, Freddie, thank you so much for joining us. We will definitely have you back for the final 2 IndyCar races of the season in Milwaukee and the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, which has moved from the street course to the oval. I think that is a great change.
Yes.
And it'll be nice to see these final 2 battles of the year for IndyCar, and still a lot to play for at the end of the season. So thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Darryl. Pleasure having me on again. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks. So we'll put roofs on the cars when we come back. We had a great end of the sprint season in supercars. And man, Shane Van Gisbergen just keeps winning on those road courses. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. iSports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And we're back here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl with you for the rest of the way as we get into the Repco Supercars Championship. wrapping up their inaugural 3-phase championship with the ending of the Sprint Cup Series. The Bailey Ladders Sprint Cup Series there in Australia. Wrapped it up with the Ipswich Super 440, and Brock Feeney utterly dominated the sprint portion of the season. 2,063 points, 12 wins from 13 poles during the sprint season. Utter domination for Brock Feeney to take the inaugural sprint championship. Matthew Payne of Penrite Racing was second with 1,718 points, and Will Brown, 1,708, was third in the other Red Bull Ample Racing Camaro, or Chevy, or whatever they're calling it now, since they don't have Chevy anymore. But it was a season, or a sprint season, of the Red Bull Ample team. Used to be known as the Vodafone Team 888, that dominated with Jamie Whincup and company back in the day. Now they are dominating once again with Brock Feeney and Will Brown absolutely running the roost since the start of the season. But Will Brown, only 2 races won all year. His first one was in Melbourne. Didn't get his second win until the second race of the Ipswich weekend. Race 24 overall. Back at the start of the season, which began with Cam Waters and Monster Castrol racing in the Thrifty Sydney 500, taking all 3 races on that weekend, and then it just became the Red Bull show. Great to see for Brock Feeney, but now we get into the real meat of the schedule, the 2 endurance races that are coming up. Our first one is in 30 days. Let's get ready for races number 26 and 27 of the season. Let's get the calendar up. Our next race, it's going to be at the Bend, the Air Touch 500, the first of 2 endurance races for the Supercars Championship, which is unique, in which the vast majority of their races are these short sprint races up to 440 kilometers, not miles, kilometers. Then you get into the Bend in Southern Australia and Bathurst in New South Wales, which is the big one that we will get to later on in October. These 500 kilometer races that require 2 drivers to complete, just because of how stressful it is driving a supercar, especially how competitive the field is nowadays. It's going to be exciting to get there and to wrap up this quick stretch of endurance races to decide who's going to run for the championship in the final stretch of races, which goes through the Boost Mobile Gold Coast 500 all the way down to the BP Adelaide Grand Final that will happen at the end of November. But everybody, of course, is focused on Bathurst, October 9th through the 12th. The Bathurst 1000, where legends in Australian supercar racing are born. And we can't wait to see that race. Gonna try to stay up as long as possible for that one, of course. So we move on from supercars to the NASCAR weekend, the Go Bowling at the Glen. First, I want to say, get well soon to Connor Zilisch. If you were watching the Xfinity Series race, had a pretty bad fall getting out of the car, did Connor, after taking the win in the Xfinity Series event. Got into a tussle with Shane Van Gisbergen on Saturday. Ended up sending him into the wall, but Connor Zilisch ends up picking up the win. Let's get over to the results page. picks up the win over Sam Mayer and Sammy Smith, but Connor Zilic went to get out the car in victory lane afterwards, went to do the celebratory photos, took a tumble onto the victory lane concrete, ended up breaking his collarbone. It's a pretty bad fall, and it was pretty jarring watching on TV. Thankfully, he was not seriously injured, and we hope to see him back in a couple of weeks in Daytona, as they will be off in Richmond, as just Trucks and Cup will be making the trip up my neck of the woods. But yeah, not a great drop for Connor Zilic, who said on Twitter he now has infinite aura debt. The Zoomers know what that means after that fall. But hey, we're just glad it wasn't any worse, just because we had a series of major incidents during racing this weekend, including a crash. Let's get into this one. Austin Hill gets into it with Michael McDowell. They were racing hard for third behind Zilic. Or they're racing for second, I believe. And not sure if it was an accident. Not sure if the red mist got to him. But Austin Hill got into the right rear corner panel of Michael McDowell, sent him into the Armco barrier just after the carousel. That caused a 16-car melee, and the outpouring on social media was fierce and immediate in placing blame on Austin Hill. And Austin is at this point where he is a villain in NASCAR, but not for a good reason. He's not a guy that you like to see get beat. He's not a heel. He's got X-Pac heat, for those of you that watch the WWE. I think a lot of folks are just ready for Austin Hill to be gone, because he's got into some altercations with some drivers this year. He had the intentional wreck of Eric Almirola that got him suspended. Now this incident as well in Watkins Glen, it's showing a pattern of a driver that doesn't have the emotional fortitude to eventually make it to the Cup Series, where most of these drivers want to go. And at this point, that timer is ticking down to the end for him to get to the Cup Series. He's 31. Not a lot of time for Austin Hill to get to Cup. Unfortunately, he's got a pretty big blocker at RCR with the fact that they've got Kyle Busch in the other car, and Austin Dillon's not leaving that seat, even though he's not that good. So for this Austin, he's probably going to be a Xfinity Series lifer, which is not a problem in and of itself. To have a career in one of the 3 touring series, because there are 3 national touring series in NASCAR. We seem to forget that they're not just developmental series for Cup. They're their own contained thing. It's a good career to have, but unfortunately, Austin Hill just continues to make mistakes, and fans are not happy at all. On the Cup Series side, it's a road course race in 2025. Shane Van Gisbergen picks up a rather dominating win. Win that race by 11 seconds on Sunday. This was a race that, for the first time in a while, I actually mentally tuned out within the middle. I actually had the race on my second screen. I was dealing with some real world work tasks and was watching the race and just kind of forgot about it. I looked up Shane Van Gisbergen and took the win. I'm like, oh, okay. Was not the most exciting race at Watkins Glen this week. Not because of Shane, but not a lot of passing took place, which with Watkins Glen, it was actually a fast Watkins Glen race too, because it was just over 2 hours. It's hard when it comes to the Glen, though, because it goes one or two ways. It's either what we saw, or we get a whole bunch of pileups. I'm not really sure which one we can see. I would not like to see the pileups, because we saw how bad those can get. See what happened in the Truck Series race as well, and the Xfinity Series race. But at the same time, Cup, they've got a problem when it comes to certain road courses in this next-gen car. They're going to have to get it figured out. Possibly getting rid of the stages again, or not the stage cautions when it comes to these races. I think that would be nice. And in the Truck Series race, Corey Heim ended up picking up the win from Daniel Hemrick, Gio Ruggiero, and Christopher Bell, who was driving the 52 for Stuart Friesen, who had a hellacious crash in a dirt modified, has several serious injuries that required surgery, and likely Stuart Friesen will not be with us for the rest of the year, but we will say get well soon, Stuart, and we hope to see him back eventually. But we're going to wrap up early in this edition of the Extra Mile. I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll be back next week as the motorsports year carries on as we head down towards championship time. Again, congratulations to Alex Palou for winning his 4th championship in IndyCar. And thank you so much for the Racelets Freddie B of the Racelets podcast for joining us. My name is Darryl. Thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Extra Mile. We will see you next green flag. Good night, everybody.